My guest today is Dimitri from Dmitry's Garage, a content creator known for his in-depth product testing and no-nonsense approach to car care products. So go check out his YouTube channel. And for this, we're diving deep into his journey, his crazy product testing methods. We also talk everything about ceramic coating. So if you love real-world detailing insights, this is an episode that you don't want to miss. By the way, I do my best to bring you guys the best value every week. So all I ask in return is you guys to subscribe to the House of Rag YouTube channel. Hope you enjoy this one.
Dimitri, for the introduction, we're gonna front load some engaging question for the audience. Actually, these questions are from the audience. The first one is from Wong. He's asking about the real UV protection, the research that you've done behind that. Did you find any coating that have actual UV protection yet?
In the sense that UV protection means like sunblock, where it'll block UV rays from penetrating. No, I've not found that to be the case. I don't believe that it's really possible given the thicknesses of the layers involved, the chemistry involved, and even with chemicals that can be fairly thin, uh, maybe you could use zinc oxide, a few other things that are pretty permanent, but most other chemistry around UV blocking is going to degrade as it absorbs UV. And with these tiny layers and the small amounts we're talking about, it's not going to work. It's the same reason you have to reapply UV sunblock to your body all the time if you're outdoors. It's the same problem. It's a very thin, non-permanent layer, and it's not like clear coat, which actually does provide UV blocking. I've showed that in tests repeatedly. What I do think it helps with, and I think most products have some amount of this, is avoiding having oxidizers in contact with your paint. So, what I mean by that is things like water or uh, bleach, anything that will cause oxidation to the paint, those things are supercharged by UV light. So, water and UV is much worse than just water or just UV. Bleach and UV, much worse than just bleach. And I do think that these things help. Obviously, cars that are well maintained, you see guys apply the waxes, coatings to them. They take care of their cars. They don't have oxidized paint that looks terrible. Partially, it's the constant taking care of, treating their things nicely. But I think partially it is the protective layer that you're getting from the coating or wax. You're avoiding direct contact with the paint.
Okay, so there's something to help, but not perfect,
Yeah,
not real actual.
and not like sunblock. Like
No.
everybody's picturing sunblock. I so far have not seen it. I just don't believe they can do it.
Did you have the chance to look at the new Car Pro UV something?
Everybody's asking me about that one. The fact that they advertise it makes me super interested. I don't have that bottle of Car Pro right now. I have several others that I'm testing. I need to get that specific one and see what it's going to do. But I've tried Optimum, for example. They have their pink spray that they claim is UV A, B, C, whatever. I forget if they claim all three, but definitely in the UV range that I was testing. They claim blocking, and it also didn't work. Um, I suspect it probably won't work, but I would love to try it and find. I would love to be proven wrong. Like my favorite thing in this thing, on all my testing, is I love being surprised. When I first started testing coatings, I didn't think I'd see ones that could pass like 1,000 scrub tests in something like my Alcometer. The first time I got to see it, I was like, wow, it really worked. So I'd love to be proven wrong. It's just my experience so far, and kind of the research I've done tells me it's unlikely that any of these really work like sunblock works. Maybe they're great at really blocking oxidizers from touching the paint. Maybe that's their thing. I have to do a little more research on those guys
Okay,
and get my own bottle.
okay, we'll keep an eye on your channel for that. By the way, if for the people at home, go subscribe to Dimitri's Garage, and then subscribes to the House of Rags, guys. Support the people
Definitely.
behind this podcast, and obviously subscribe to Detailing Dogma. The next question is from Brian Rushing. He's asking, with all the products that you have tested so far, is what coating would be the one that you would recommend to a new folks that are doing their first coating?
I just recently tested. This is, I think, very opportune that we're talking about it. I just recently tested Ethos Easy Peasy. Honestly, that's a great one to start out on. I thought that it was. I've not used the coding that's easier. I think there's others that are very easy too. I wouldn't be able to point at anything in their coding and say, "Wow, this could be easier." No, it's as easy as a coding can get. And I really love, kind of the combination of the price point, the performance. Is it competing with the absolute highest end stuff like the Max or the C6 Hydrolite, or some of the professional coatings I've looked at? No, it's not quite at that level of protection, of gloss and visual appeal and all those things. It's not quite there, but it's so easy to use. If you're just starting out, man, I mean, it's better than a lot of. I think it's in my number fifth spot right now as far as overall performance, and
Wow.
it's super easy to use.
Yeah, that's super nice to actually I watched that video yesterday. That's
Oh, cool.
pretty interesting. So go guys, go watch that videos. That's the Ethos Easy Peasy ceramic coating.
Yep.
Would you say that it is easier than something like CarPro Can Coat?
Can coat, I think, is a very easy one. I think it's a bit of a different product than a liquid traditional coating. Um, I think they're similar. I think you could use can coat and also have a very easy experience. And actually, I've been meaning to do a video on can coat, so thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, but Can Coat if I can allow myself that comment, Can Coat is easy, but it doesn't like to be left there for too long.
Yeah,
That's
but
a
which could be
problem.
an issue. Which could be an issue. Yeah, I've seen similar things with like the Uber SiO2 silica spray. It's super durable, but it will high spot. So if you screw up, you wait too long. As easy as it is, yeah, you can miss some, and then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a problem with with those coatings because now that everyone is claiming easy or ease of use,
yeah,
and for me, if I cannot leave it for more than 1 minute without it being a high spots, it's not that easy.
no, I agree.
And Can Coat, it's a good product. Don't get me wrong, but if you apply it too thick, because they mentioned to apply it thin, but everyone applies it like a real coating,
Yeah.
and that's the type of coating that you can really easily spread on other panels without noticing it, and that's where you get again more high spots.
And people get them on headlights all the time. That's one of the common areas I see because I usually mask those areas off if I don't want to coat them or if I want to coat them separately. But a lot of times people will overlap and then they won't realize that, hey, well, I already did the headlights an hour ago. Now I just hit them again with a quarter of my, applicator or my towel or whatever.
Yeah, something I've noticed nowadays, there's the new coatings on the market. Some of them, they what I liked compared to that is that they evaporate. So if you wait long enough, you almost have nothing to wipe off. That's where the
Yeah.
real magic for me happens.
Yeah.
You don't spread around the coating everywhere and without noticing it.
Yeah, I recently tested the Art to Shine Nano Graphene Plus, which is a professional only coating, unfortunately, but it is exactly what you're saying. You can leave that there, I mean, virtually forever, and the stuff comes up. It's really impressive how easy it is to remove.
That's
But I
good.
think it's got some insane price tag, and you've got to be a pro to get it. So
Okay.
it's definitely an issue.
Okay. Yeah. So we haven't heard that much more anymore about Art de Shine. They're still around.
They are. So I actually talked to those guys pretty recently. They're still pushing out products and they did have several versions of that nanographene ceramic. I've tested an older one that had some instruction misprints, and I actually saw that it wasn't easy to use because of those misprints. They were telling me I had to clean it up within seconds, and it was insanely tacky. But then I tried the new version, and right now I think it's top of my charts, and it hit like every category out of the park. It was really insane. I genuinely don't know how much it costs because they just sent me a bottle. I You can't really see because you have to be a dealer to be able to buy it. But I imagine it's some pretty crazy amount.
Yeah.
But I was
That's
incredibly impressed. Like if I was getting a pro to install a coating, like that one's amazing. And just the ease was so crazy to me. It's like, man, anybody could install this thing. It's so easy to use.
That's good. So you're an affiliate with Chris at Carzilla, right?
Yep.
Did
Yeah.
you have the chance to get the Bola Solution Pro only coating?
Not the pro only. I do have a few of their products to test. I've played with a few of them. I've made a couple of videos where I've shown some of them. You haven't seen one that has really blown me away, to be honest. But it's also been a couple of years since Chris sent me that stuff, or maybe a year and a half or something like that. So it's possible they have a new lineup that might be a little better. What was your experience with it?
Well, as far as the paint ceramic coating, I use the Pro version, the Pro only coating. It's a two-part system, and the base layer is pretty tough.
Mm.
It's very thick, and the instructions are pretty clear. You have to wipe it off immediately, and it comes with the large sheet of suede. So right away, it's a giveaway that it's going to be hard to wipe off. They give you that because they don't want you to have lint on the paint, right?
Yeah. They don't want the tackiness. Yeah.
It's
Oof.
very tacky, very grabby. So for me,
It's like the old Car Pro, the UK, the old one, or a few others that you had to use their little very like lint-free cloth. You couldn't just use your Eagle edgeless or something.
exactly. So it's okay, I can do it, but it takes more time. It takes more like mental energy. You gotta work really small section to not screw it up. But other than that, it's on my car right now, so I'm testing that one. So I got three on the car. That one, the Bola Solution Pro, the pan the organizer 3-year, and the DIY 3-year. They're all on the car since before winter. So yeah.
Yeah, the pan is what everybody's asking me to test now. There's so much controversy around him releasing his own lineup, so everybody's asking me to test. It's on my list. I'm sure I'll order a bottle at some point.
Yeah, the coding, it's super easy. It's very good. It's the one that is doing the best so far in the car, and I have that before at fall. So I applied those on at fall, and here we have a lot of salt. And I don't know if you've seen my videos where the car gets super dirty.
Not well. I mean, I used to live in New York, so I'm familiar with how caked on
Okay,
things can get. Yeah.
it's holding up pretty good so far. So I'll have an update in March. Last question before we jump in the regular program. From the viewers, is there a product that you have seen working better or worse in the real world compared to the previous work that you've done in your test?
My product recommendation for this week is Labo Cosmetica Primus 2.0. Really nice, versatile car pre-wash. You can even use it as an alkaline hand wash for your car. So guys, it's winter, it's time to clean it up. So go check out Primus 2.0 on the houseofrocks.com and .ca. Don't forget to use the code DOGMA to save you some money. And let's get back into the video.
So, if I understand the question, is there a product that I've tested and then the real world performance was something very different? Yeah, I think that's true. So sometimes when you work with spray products or paste waxes that use, let's say, PTFE or spray sealants that have very strong silica mixtures, sometimes they can be pretty abrasion resistant, but they don't necessarily last a super long time with road debris and contamination and everything else. Sometimes they lack some of the other self-cleaning qualities, or sometimes the like contact angle isn't that crazy. Um, yeah, for sure. In real life, like the abrasion test does not always guarantee longevity. It's an indicator. In general, look, if you can't withstand the abrasion testing over, let's say, 10 washes, I'm not going to believe you have longevity. It's more of an indicator that, hey, well, you can survive 1,000 washes. Okay, I believe you. Maybe you last a couple of months or a year or a few years. I can believe it. But if you can't even last, 10, 20 passes on that thing, then yeah, that I don't believe you.
Would you say that it is way different than a chemical resistance test?
It is. Yeah, of course. There's a little bit of an element to it. Obviously, I'm using a surfactant in there, but I'm using a really mild one. It's like Adam's Blue shampoo. It's got like nothing in it basically. It's a very mild shampoo. It's not there's no like sealant in it. None of the stuff that the fancier shampoos do now. It's basically like I think you could use it it's like human safe, I think.
Okay,
Um,
that's good.
yeah.
But is there a specific product that you've seen working better or worse in real world compared to your test?
So specific product. Let me think of who I can. So better, I've not seen better. I've seen worse, and it's usually because of again just longevity not working out. The original C Quartz UK was not really that great in the real world. Um, in testing, it worked okay, but it clogged really quickly, and it was just not durable over time. The longevity really just wasn't there. I similarly Soft 99s, Fuso, the can paste products, hundreds of mechanical washes, but you're not going to see years out of that product. Again, they're not necessarily bad products. I used to like using Sequartz UK. I think for a paste product, that Soft 99 Fuso is great.
Mhm.
It's just they're not going to give you when you see a ceramic coating like C6 Hydrolite get the same amount of washes or a similar amount, you're not going to get the same performance out of that PTFE paste wax as you're going to get like out of the C6 Hydrolite. And I have seen that specifically in those products. I can't say that I've seen one where it's just been totally wrong, where it's been way better or way worse in an unexpected way. Like I expected from a paste sealant. Like I wasn't sitting there going, well, it got 500 washes. I bet it lasts 3 years on a PTFE paint sealant. It's not unsurprising, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Okay, very good, very good. I could elaborate on that for a while, but now let's jump into the intro and some of your background. So, how did Dimitri's Garage come to life, and what inspired you to start creating content?
Yeah. So I used to create a lot of little video clips of just things I was doing just to share with friends or post on forums or whatever. I had a very early YouTube channel where I used to kind of link to it. Got rid of it at some point, but then as I started building my Mustang and I started getting into kind of modding cars more again, I had a little bit, I guess, more money at that time in my life, and I just started thinking like, hey, I should start filming some of the stuff. I shot a video with a cool Fox body Mustang that a friend of mine bought. It somehow ended up getting like at the time like 40 or something thousand views, and then later I think now it's like at over 100,000. It's slowly been trickling up, but it was like the first video I posted on this channel, and it got me excited about it again. I was like, wow, people would see like some of the dumb stuff I do. And I started posting some of the Mustang stuff. I got the new garage going. I posted some of the mods, uh, detailed tutorials on installs, and it just I love doing this stuff and it's fun for me to share it. And it's exciting when other people are excited about this. And over time, I got into posting the detailing content. I've been doing detailing for quite a while as an enthusiast, but I've always just been interested in comparing products, seeing in a objective way what the difference is between those products, and being able to share that with other people, get people's feedback, be able to help people understand what may work better for them. Just even with car stuff, I hate not being able to find good resources. Like a lot of times, I'm not going to make a video if somebody else has an amazing video that shows how to do this. But what I see a lot of the time is like, oh, I want to do this thing to my car, and the only video is like a soundless time lapse with a bare light bulb in someone's garage, and I can't tell what they did. I would love to know how this person did this. And I'm not really like making fun of people doing that. I think it's great that they're trying to post this kind of stuff. But what I always think is like, wow, there's probably like 10 other people trying to do the same thing. It'd be great if I could show them how to do it. And that's exciting for me.
That's pretty good. So, when did you start to make videos constantly?
Um, I started to get more serious about it, like somewhat constantly around 2017, 2018. But I've really picked up the pace probably around like 2020 and after, especially around detailing stuff. I think it was after 2020 when I started to really focus on detailing
Yeah, so because for the people at home, if you're not aware, you were focusing on more on car
car
or
mods.
mods installed before
Yeah.
that.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, but it is very cash intensive. And realistically, I can't turn around a new car build every 6 weeks. And that's part of the reason, I still love doing that, but I love doing detailing. I love modding cars. It's just I refocused what I film more on the stuff that I can afford to do every week versus the stuff that I can't do every week. It's just I happen to have bought that Mustang at that time. It fueled some of the initial content. Then I started building my garage. That fueled more content. And then it's like, well, unless I just want to keep dumping money into cars or into my garage, there's no more content to make unless I start focusing on other things that excite me.
Yeah, yeah. The car modding is getting out of hand. It's all crazy and really not realistic. So
Yeah. But whenever I get a new car, there's going to be videos about mods potentially, definitely maintenance stuff. Like with the C8, I've already done, the little home link visor mod, the oil change stuff. Um, more
this,
on the horizon. There's more maintenance coming up rapidly. So there's
yeah,
going to be more maintenance videos.
they make good views. Your car content make good views. Your B9
Yeah.
S4 is like super large, not a large niche, but there's a real crowd behind those cars, and they
Yeah.
seem to be doing good. And
Yeah.
your videos are well built up. So
Thank you. And you know what always does well? Like just oil change videos, because too many are incomplete. Like, where's the how much torque? Like on the drain plug, or on B9s, like you don't really need to use the drain plug. You can pull it out of the dipstick tube. Like there's a lot of ways to show people how to do things, and sometimes those videos do very well. Like I think when I had my A4 B9 before the S4, I think that might be one of the most popular videos, just how to do an oil change on an A4.
yeah, these kind of people want to work on the cars,
Yeah, yeah,
and they need a video for that.
yeah,
Okay, so you've been shifting your focus on detailing a few years now, right?
yeah.
And was there a moment like, okay, now I have to move on detailing?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just realized that it made the most sense in both the economy of running a YouTube channel. I'm a small time YouTuber. I don't have massive sponsorships that I can dump into cars every month. It's not realistic for me to do that. And I love detailing, so it's just kind of just panning the camera over to the other stuff I'm doing. And what I realized is kind of people's engagement. So I did a few videos where I tried comparing, a ton of products at once, with some really rudimentary testing that at least tried to be somewhat objective. There was a really good response to that, and I realized, okay, I'm not the only lunatic interested in this. Apparently, people would like to know about how these products work, how they compare. They don't. Everybody doesn't just go to Walmart and buy the first bottle they see. There's actually a lot of us that love to do this. And then I realized, okay, well, this is another thing I love. It is possible to do it as a small time YouTuber without breaking the bank, and I can still do the car modding stuff as it comes. When I get a new vehicle or something breaks or maintenance happens, it's always an opportunity.
Did you lose people along the way within your audience?
Um, I think there's a decent overlap, but certainly there are people who are there for the Audi content, or initially there were people there that were for the Ford content for the Mustang. Um, I think there's a decent overlap though with people that are interested in detailing products. I don't think everybody's interested in paint correction and coatings necessarily, in terms of DIY installing. I think spray products and liquids and waxes are still quite interesting to most enthusiasts.
Right.
Uh, I think lots of enthusiasts love to take care of their cars. So I think there's a decent overlap
Yeah.
there.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
And people, there's so many options nowadays in the detailing products, and
Yeah.
I guess the way you make your videos, they're so unique to your tests are so unique. And I mean, if people are not sure about a certain product and they get on the channel, they're gonna find out really fast answers there. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's taken time to get there. I definitely didn't have all this equipment when I started out. Tests were much more rudimentary. I'm sort of somewhere at a version 2.5 right now of my test suite, and I'm sure there's going to be a version 3. What I'm kind of focusing now is an annual top list of products that are still being sold and that are being tested. And as the testing, as my testing changes, that list will kind of start to match whatever the current version of my test suite is. You mentioned before about doing environmental testing like chemical resistance, salt, road grime, things like that. That's something I'm talking about right now. Uh, Trying to learn more about how to test that, and hopefully I'll have something that I can add to a future test suite. Recently I added the contact angle testing, even designed my own device to do that testing, and there's always something new to do. I have testing for glass products coming out. I had custom made windshield glass made for me. I already received it. It's here. There's a couple of little pieces to the test that I have to finish designing. Should be some very interesting data, very similar to what I do for paint protection.
Yeah, well, that's pretty interesting. Do you have like a background in science or in testing in general, engineering?
No, I really don't. So my background is in computers. So essentially, I was a system architect for some time. A lot of my family is are scientists or involved in science. So I think it's just osmosis where I've just been
Okay.
around, like so many people in my life or in my family or friends are scientists, that it kind of rubs off on you.
So let's talk. So let's talk about it. Your testing methods and the science of detailing. So you don't just want to showcase the product and give your thoughts on it. You want how did you design your test, and what did you think before making that type of testing and those methods?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is watching reviews or reading reviews and going, this is meaningless material, because all I saw was an article where somebody explained that they applied something to their car and it looked really beautiful, and they drove it around and washed it and it still looked beautiful. And it's like, well, great. A lot of products will do that. What's really the difference? Now, obviously, people that are skilled installers, people that are enthusiasts that have experience, they can tell which products work well. You can tell how easy the application is. Like, this, you have a lot of experience. You're able to say, hey, this coating's easy to use or not easy to use. But what's hard for even people with a lot of hands-on experience is to say, well, here's two pretty good, easy to use coatings. I think they both last a long time. Customers come back in 12, 24 months and it's still working, but which one's better? And this is where the more objective testing comes in. It's being able to actually create data and say, well, okay, this one, yes, it might last 2 years, but it fails at 300 scrubs on an alcometer. This one goes to 1,000. They're both great products, but one's definitely more abrasion resistant. Or you may look and see how much gloss you gain or lose in terms of specular reflection from a treated surface. Your eye can tell when you're dealing, especially like 5 gloss units, your eye can really start to tell. But if you're talking about 1 or 2, could be a little harder to quantify. And then how do you really answer it? And maybe it doesn't matter, right? You might say, well, if I only want it for 2 years, what do I care if it's one or the other? But it's interesting to me. I do want to be able to quantify and rank products. And I think it matters to people's expectations and unique applications. If you're going to trade your car every 2 years, I think I could name 15 coatings that would last 2 years that would be just fine. But some people like to, go to 4 or 5 years or longer. I mean, there's people out there that really hold on to their cars, and it may matter to them if they use something like, let's say, C6 Hydrolite or the Art to Shine, and get more abrasion resistance as they wash their car. Maybe they're washing their car every week or a couple of times a week in the winter if they really love that vehicle. It can stack up and it can matter to certain people. And similarly with contact angles, again, you can look at a hydrophobic surface, spray it with water, and see, hey, well, that's got nice beads. And that other one's got nice beads, but which one's actually draining water faster? Which one has less surface energy as a result of the coating? The contact angle testing can tell us the surface energy difference. And you can say, well, this one's more hydrophobic. It'll self clean better. It'll work better.
So that's really good actually. That for one thing that makes you and your channel different than most of other ones, and you can really put some real data and numbers behind your findings. So that's pretty good. I mean, numbers is always good, and I'm sure there's a ton of people that are looking for that. But at the same time, do you feel that you're maybe losing some people along the way, or that does not matter to you?
Yeah. Um, you know, ultimately, this is not my primary source of income, so I don't want to say that it doesn't matter to me. I'd love for more people to be engaged with the content, but I also want to be excited about what I'm doing. So I don't really want to just make a generic video over and over. And at that point, I just don't know what I'm really adding. I don't think I'm that exciting of a personality. And what am I really adding? There's already somebody else that's doing a more generic test, and maybe they have a way funner personality that's way more engaging. What I can offer is this more unique testing that other people aren't doing, and I think some people are interested in it. I think for a lot of people, it may be too much focus on the science aspect. You're not wrong. I've definitely had comments like, "I can't follow this," or "I don't get what you're talking about." It's true, and it's not really interesting for everybody. Like I get it. It can get too sciency. I,
Yeah.
I, I totally understand that.
Okay. That's pretty good. I mean, you want to provide value, and that's the way that you
Yeah,
found to do it. And
yeah,
I guess you're getting the real hardcore people and the real engaged audience with you.
yeah.
So that's pretty
Which
good.
is really fun. I talk to so many people in the audience. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. So so you do a lot of research to use those tools, and you mentioned that you made your contact angle tool. So you prepare a lot for those, meaning um, which so I want to ask you, which one is the most expensive machine that you have? I'm just curious.
The most expensive is definitely the alcometer. It's there's moving parts, right? So I have the UV weathering machine as well, but that's just a stainless steel box with some lamps and a timer. It's not that expensive. The alcometer, I can't recall right now, but it was definitely several $1,000s as I recall,
Okay.
to buy that machine. And that was a big purchase for the channel for sure.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
how long does it take to do 1,000 washes?
So 1,000 washes with 30 RPM. Are you better at math than me?
No.
It takes a minute to do 1,000 washes. Yeah,
How much RPM is it?
a 30 RPM, 30.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
So
can
that's
crank it up more. It's just I want to not increase heat from friction, right? So I want to keep a consistent RPM. If I use a really high RPM, we're going to be building up more heat and not allowing some of that heat to dissipate. So I think
okay.
30 RPM is a fair compromise between me not spending all day running a test and also not just building up a ton of extreme heat.
Okay, so for the people who are listening and are not aware, that's the machine that goes left and right and
Yep.
that imitate the washing motion,
Yep. And
and
it
you're
adds shampoo. So as it moves along, it keeps dripping and injecting shampoo where the brush is, or not the brush, sorry, the terry applicator is what I use. And yeah, it just keeps everything lubricated and simulates a wash. I do use a high concentration of shampoo to just maximize lubricity.
and avoid friction or heat, right?
Yeah.
Too much friction.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, go check it out on Dimitri's channel. So sometimes you'll start at 10 wash and go up to 1,000, right?
Yeah, so it's like 10, 20, what is it? 10, 20, 50, 100, 300, and 1,000. And basically, wherever we fail, if I do 300 and I test and the product is worse than the control, then you failed at 100. You didn't make it to three, and you get a different amount of points accordingly.
And what was the product that would stand the most washes?
So there's several that have already made it to 1,000 washes. Actually, I have a list on the left. I kind
Ethos
of
Max
prepared a little
and
bit. There have been 6 coatings and 1 spray sealant. So 6 coatings and 1 spray sealant have made it to 1,000 at this point. But I can tell you the Art to Shine, the nanographene, the original and the plus, their performance is extreme. They're nowhere near failing at 1,000. I didn't bother with the plus version because I could tell it was just working so well. There was barely any effect. The regular version I took to 3,000 just as a test, and it was still working.
Oh
So
wow.
that stuff is insanely durable. The C6 Hydrolyte's one that made it. The Ethos Max made it. The Diamond Quick Body Spray made it. Um, Wolfgang Profi coating made it. And Next Gen Carbon Flex made it as well.
Did you think
Cheating with
about
my list.
which one?
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm saying I'm cheating with my list on my other monitor.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Did you think about changing the soap or changing a variation to make the 1,000 wash harder for the ceramic
So
coatings?
I have thought about it, but compared to hand washing, it is slightly harsher already.
Okay.
So I would say if I made it more harsh, I would be worried that it's not a very realistic example. So I'm actually very impressed when I see 1,000 because if I had to do that by hand, it would be many thousand most likely.
Yeah, I've done the 10 wash test with a hood standing on a against the garage door, and it was starting to be a workout after 10.
You should see my what was it, the Adams graphene, not the advanced, the regular version. I was still doing them by hand, and I think I went like 400 or 500 washes.
Oh,
Like my shoulder, like I was dying
yeah, I think
after
I've
that
seen that
test.
one as well.
Yeah.
That's insane. After 10, I go with harsher stuff.
Yeah, my rotator cuff was just was done.
So, generic question for you: uh, What's is there a video or a product that you tested that you had the most? So, what's the product that you have the most unexpected results?
Ooh, um, I'll give you good and bad. I would say again that Art to Shine nanographene just being able to do thousands is good. I never expected to see that. Bad, probably hand wash testing the original Avalon King IX, whatever it is,
Mhm.
and having it fail in like a handful of washes was really unexpected. Again, some people told me they had good results, but most people I talked to said they had bad results. So it wasn't just me. But it was just crazy for me that a full on ceramic coating was failing after a full cure was failing within multiple, just a handful of hand washes. It was really nuts. The Max Graphene from Ethos also very impressive. Um, well, let me see. Gonna kind of look at my list and see what might have also
For
impressed
sure.
me. Oh,
Uh,
I would say the one that's got some really crazy characteristics for slickness, the C6 Hydrolite is got an insanely low coefficient of friction. It's like zero point zero 0.07. It's incredibly slippery. I don't think I've seen anything that slippery.
wow.
Yeah,
I-
very. And coatings are not always that slippery. Coatings actually can be grabby sometimes compared to some of the like paste and liquid waxes.
Yeah, they used to be all like that, right? The
Yeah, and
old
some of them
technology
still
stuff.
are. I tested the Avalon King Max recently. It was it was stickier than bare polished paint.
Do you
Like
think
it
that
actually
matters?
I think it matters if your paint is now grippier to towels and everything else than just bare paint, you know?
That one
Like
was grippier than bare paint.
it was grippier than bare paint. It had a so bigger numbers are worse in static coefficient of friction. It had a 0.46 static coefficient of friction. Bare paint is like 0.38, and the C6 Hydrolite was 0.07. Just to
Wow.
show you that difference. So it was crazy. It was literally just the tackiest thing. I've seen, I think, only one other product. There was a Sonax product. Was there? It kind of looked like a blue opaque spray. I can't remember what the name of it was, but it was the same thing. It made the surface tackier.
Is
And
that
I do
BSD?
think, I don't want to lie.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
you know what? I
the
bet it's
super
on my
thick
list
blue
here.
stuff, that's
Yeah, it was,
BSD.
maybe it was BSD. Let me see if I still have it on my list here.
That's the only problem with this
Oh, it was
product.
the brilliant it was the Sonic's Brilliant Detailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's BSD.
It was BSD.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was literally, so you had the same experience?
Well, yeah, it's an old school product that I used many
Yeah.
years ago, but yeah, that's the problem. The beating was crazy,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
your towel would roll over itself, and
Yeah. Yeah,
not super
it
nice
was
user
really,
experience.
and I don't even mean during the application. This is just after. It's crazy. And
Yeah,
all this, the slickness does a lot of people ask why I measure the slickness, but when you're washing your car, you don't want everything grippy. You don't want to sit there and try to scrub things away with a grippy towel. You want everything to glide. You want some inherent lubricity in what you're doing. And a low static coefficient of friction is important to that.
so you would say that in your maintenance and your washes, that would matter there to avoid maybe marring the paint.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So which one of your tests you would say that is not the most important, but the most anticipated, that you would not put at the first in your videos, that you're waiting
Yeah.
to give
It's
to the
definitely the
people?
durability, right? So I'm kind of the torture testing king apparently, and everybody wants to see the durability. So I see it in the stats. I'll like see people jump to the end of the durability,
Ah,
and they watch that, and then they watch my wrap up, and it's like, well, I know what people are coming here for.
yeah, that's
It,
so
it's not
hard.
it's not everybody. It's maybe a 10% difference, but you definitely see it in the line because usually have a big fall off of people that get randomly suggested, and so they're like, oh, I don't want to listen about coatings. But then you'll see like, let's say 40, 50, whatever percent that stick around. You'll see this big 10% bump at the end where they just skipped there and went like, yeah, I'm just watching the durability.
Yeah, yeah. So for the audience, when you have a video people can skip through, and that's not really helpful for your videos to be pushed by YouTube after that. So
Yeah,
that's why we're trying to edit the video in a way that there's ups and downs, like a movie.
yeah.
There's ups and downs, so people are sticking more to the videos and watching longer.
And maybe that's what I should really focus on. It's like I know some people intentionally don't add chapters to the videos for the same reason. I
Yeah,
always just feel like I'm just letting people down because, like, if you just want to learn about durability, I kind of get it. Um, it would, I don't know. I feel like I would be inherently reducing the quality of the design by making it harder to find the right sections. But maybe keeping the chapters and mixing things around is a good idea. So that way, if somebody really wants to skip around, they can still find the chapters, but they don't
yeah,
inherently always go to the end. So maybe that's a thought. That could be a really good idea.
yeah, because they know your format, right? So
Yeah.
they know where to go. But
Yeah.
that's why I'm trying to not have always the same format, for not
Yeah.
exactly for that reason, but that's part of it, because I've noticed that when the video is super simple and there's only one thing that's going to happen, of course, if the build up to that
Yeah.
point is too long, that's going to turn off people and they're going to look
Yeah.
in there. But at the same time, if they'd only watched 1 or 2 minutes, that's going to be super bad for
Yeah.
the video to do good.
Yeah, and luckily it's not that bad. Typically my videos get pretty decent watch time. Again, I think the people skipping around, it's like a 10% difference. It'd be great to have them watch the whole thing, of course. I would definitely be more worried about it if my overall, completed view rate was like 20% or something, and everybody was just skipping to the end. That would definitely freak me out more.
Yeah,
Overall, the most people seem to watch at least the majority of the video. Not everybody watches the full explanation at the end. Some people skip the intro a little bit, but overall, most people see the majority of the video, so it's not too bad. Like the people that survive the initial, scroll to something else, because that's the first 5 seconds, right? If they haven't if they're either going to stick around or they're not in that first 5 seconds.
exactly. Yeah, the
Yeah,
first 30 seconds is super crucial.
yeah.
Yeah. So, Dimitri, do you think brands actually want to see honest reviews like you do, or they see you as a threat?
I think most brands are fine. I have great relationships with many of these companies. Hopefully, I haven't made anybody too mad today. That's always the danger with doing podcasts, right? You could say the wrong thing, but I'm not too worried about it because ultimately, I like to give honest feedback. And in my experience, the brands that are doing really good work, they're okay with honest feedback. They want honest feedback. I've made videos where I've said, "Hey, this really didn't work," and had the feedback like, "Man, yeah, thanks for telling us. Like, we got to look at something here." And I've had a few brands that have gotten mad or not wanted to do things. Again, I've never really had a great review of Avalon King, but they still sent me another product. They've been cool. Um, yeah, I don't have a very deep relationship with those guys, but a lot of other, like, for example, Auto Geek products. I've done so many reviews of all their house brands because they have like 80 house brands. I'm exaggerating, but
Yeah.
they have a lot of house brands. And sometimes they get bad reviews, but I've never had like a negative conversation later, like, oh, how come you said this sucked? It's you want honest. I think businesses that make legitimately good products want honest reviews. I don't
Yes.
think
And I'm
they want to just think, oh, everything's great, and then have upset customers or dishonest reviews.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's part of your condition to accept the product, that you're gonna
Yeah.
tell it how it is while being respectful and like
Yeah.
positive criticism, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it'd be hard to find any of my videos where I've just said like everything about this product is bad. Sometimes there's a couple of bad qualities and I can't get around it. Like the durability doesn't work or the slickness doesn't work. But like for example, with Avalon King, like I mentioned, not to pick on them,
No.
but as I've mentioned, like both their products they had some major flaws, but there were also good qualities about it. Easy to use. Their max was actually quite durable. It made it to, it scored like a 6 out of 10 in the durability, much more durable than their original product. So clearly they've made some improvements. And if I had a business selling products, I would want to know this stuff.
Exactly. And I remember when they first came out, they had a huge sponsored campaign. Like everyone was getting paid back then to promote that ceramic coating.
Well, not everyone.
All right, so that means they gotta watch your video. But it's been what, like at least 3 to 4 years. That
Oh
first Avalon
yeah.
King,
Yeah, I tested
maybe more.
the Max recently, and I thought they made a huge improvement. There were just still a couple of categories that were weak. Mainly it was the slickness and the contact angle. That was the main problem.
Yeah, and I recently bought an Amazon coating. I mean, then there's so many there, but one of the, what is it called? Amazon Choice, like
Mhm.
$20, and that reminds me of that Avalon King. So I've never had the Avalon King, but same bottle, same packaging,
Yeah.
and exactly what you said. It seems to be durable, but the water beading is poor, and it's not very slick, but it's easy to use. So
Yeah. And again, their team seems nice. I've never gotten like an angry message from them or something. And although I have had, disappointing messages I won't mention who, but I've definitely had some disappointing conversations after.
yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Is Avalon King a China brand, right?
I don't think, well, I think they're manufacturing in China. I've seen, at least with the old product that they had, I absolutely, because I was curious, I went to one of those import Yeti type of sites, and I looked and found the companies, and I looked in AliExpress and found the same bottle for like $5.
Mm,
And I was like, well, okay, they're putting the logo on it for you and you're selling it. Like, I get it. And look, half of Amazon is like that right now, right? Like everybody's doing. I don't blame them. They're trying to make money. Um, Maybe they need to do more independent testing of their vendors to
okay.
pick the right vendor.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So moving on, what's your thought on the improvement of detailing products? Are they just improving, or now it's just better marketing?
I think they're definitely improving. So I don't think we've hit a point where we're just flat. I think it's going to be hard to say how much better they can get. Like that's what excites me. It's like, what is the next thing? Because we are definitely at a point where they're infinitely better than what I was playing with 20 years ago. And they're massively better than 10 years ago. So where are we going to be in 10 more years? And I don't know. A part of me worries that we are going to hit a plateau where we're just going to say, like, what else can we really do? We're already getting, at least by my metrics, 10 out of 10 products. Again, I'll go back to that Art to Shine on GC Plus, the Pro. I'm looking at it on my table on the other screen, and it's literally 10, all other than contact angle, it was all tens across the board. Like,
Wow.
what else could you do to make it? I guess the contact angle could be a little better, but like we're at a point where we're really playing with these tiny differences. But yet, that was only a few years ago when products were not this great. So I kind of, as an optimist, I always hope that, in a month, somebody's going to send me some amazing new thing. Maybe it will have UV protection. Maybe I need to try that Car Pro D-Light. Maybe that is the D-Light, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
sure.
So I mean, I gotta, I gotta try it. Maybe they really have cracked it somehow. But I am partially worried that maybe I just need to come up with more tests. But I am a little bit worried that we're starting to approach some kind of plateau. But then again, everything's gotten better every decade. So
But people they
yeah,
want improvement this year,
yeah.
next
Well,
year,
I mean, I
every
think right now
single.
there's individual brands that are improving. I think we see companies coming out with, but even traditional companies, like 20 years ago, Turtle Wax was already kind of a joke. But today, Turtle Wax is actually making some pretty decent products. I'm not saying they're a high end boutique brand. I wouldn't compare them with like DIY or somebody like that. But their products are not the stuff they were making 20 years ago at all. They have very decent spray sealants. They have lots of interesting things that if you're going to go to Walmart and buy a product, theirs aren't bad. Same with McGuire's. We saw a lot of stuff coming out from them with improvements to their original technologies. Uh, Everybody's not reaching those levels of some of these top guys in the game yet, but we are seeing improvements even in the legacy brands.
Yeah. Well, there's more than one market, right? So,
Yeah.
but you're right. People are
But it's
talking about
exciting
turtle
to
wax.
know that for $7 at Walmart, you can buy a pretty great spray sealant from Turtle Wax. It's not amazing, but it's pretty great.
Yeah, is that
Like the
that's not the
seal,
average solution.
yeah. Let's not, yeah, but like the Seal and Shine, for example, is a pretty great little quick spray sealant.
It's
If
still available.
I think it's still, let's find out. I'm googling things now.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Seal and Shine hybrid, $11.
$11.
Yeah, 11. I mean, it's is it
Yeah, it's
Diamond
good.
Quick Body? Is it Diamond Quick Body? No, it's not. But for $11, it's pretty great. If I'm gonna tell somebody who's not an enthusiast to go get a product, I might recommend that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Is there certain brands that you trust more than others?
There's brands that I've just liked historically because they've made good products over time. Like again, Auto Geek I mentioned in the past. I've always had good experiences. Is every product great? No, but they have a good history of making pretty good solutions. Similarly, Atoms. I know people give Atoms. People complain that they've become this big brand. You could buy it at stores that you didn't used to be able to buy from. That they make too many products. Things like that is a common complaint. But I rarely get something from them where I'm like, oh, this is bad. It's almost always pretty good. So, are they always making the absolute best products in the world across every category? No, for sure they're not. But if I just want to grab something really quick, their stuff's always good.
And what would you say that, like, many years ago, at least like 3 to 4 years ago, we would see all of those brands, or they were jumping in with the YouTubers to really
Yeah.
showcase their product, to push them out. But nowadays, do you see like a turnover from that? Like, we don't. There's many of those brands like Turtle Wax, Art the Shine. I could name a bunch. We don't hear about them that much anymore. Do you think they stopped believing in YouTube content creator for
No, I don't.
detailing?
I don't think so. I mean, I spoke with Art Deshine's team just like I don't know, a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something. So I think they're still out there for sure. Um, Turtle Wax, I think, has slowed down some of their campaigns. I think the market's very heavily saturated. And I think some of the bigger players are focusing on acquisition strategies. You are seeing that with some of these big detailing companies. They are buying up other companies and other brands. In certain markets where you have a lot of this ripe for consolidation, saturation, you are going to see some of the big brands go, well, instead of dumping money into trying to steal market share by trying to get big name detailers to promote me on YouTube, why don't I just go buy these four other companies and take their revenue and just have them as labels in my portfolio? And I think we are seeing more of that. Not going to get into details of who's doing it. I think it's boring for people, but this is absolutely happening right now behind the scenes. So I think that's a bit of a shift. I don't think it's that people don't necessarily believe in the marketing. It's just it's too much.
Yeah, it's really easy to start a detailing brand now if you
Yeah.
have the funds.
Well, and I think there's a difference. Like again, I'm talking to like Art to Shine. I'm not trying to get a crazy sponsorship deal out of them or something. I'm talking to them about technology. I'm talking to them about testing products, things like that. I'm not asking them for a bunch of money or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. I think what's over, or at least maybe for a lot of smaller size channels, is getting money out of things like this. This is probably largely over. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's as being a YouTuber, there's lots of companies out there that they kind of want to use you for promotion, like free advertising,
Yeah.
and there's nothing for you there for your time or
Well,
your.
the
They just want to
commissions,
give you products.
obviously. Yeah, so I mean, it's free products, but also I'm an affiliate. So, if the product does well and people want to buy it, they can use my link and I do get credit for that. So there is definitely commission revenue. What I mean more is like, I don't know that obviously there's big names like Pan that are still, going to be getting product deals. But, are they doing product deals with 80 different YouTubers? Probably not worth it because it's very hard to show tangible returns on those investments, right? In a very saturated market, at some point, it just feels like you're throwing money into a pit and you don't know if it's actually yielding you more sales.
So Dimitri, you have your website. You have a super nice, well organized charts there with your favorites. I know you have also a video of your favorites for 2024. So people go check that out if you want to know more about his favorite product, and his research is super well organized on his website. But what's one detailing product that you cannot live without,
Ooh,
or a
that's a good
category
question.
of product? Like,
Well, for me, I love clean wheels and I love a good wheel cleaner. And honestly, I use a ton of Adams wheel cleaner. It's pretty great, very attractive price point, and I tend to get them in the 5 gallon big tub. And you should see the amount I use because all my cars have like race compound or like track compound style brakes. They're semi-metallic, they're not ceramic. So the amount of brake dust, my wheels are black after 500 miles. And I use that stuff just in massive quantities. I could not live without it.
okay, that's good. Would you say that it's too harsh for like weekly maintenance?
No, no,
No,
it's not super harsh. I've been using that stuff for like a decade. Yeah, it's not.
you haven't seen any
Yeah.
degradation.
I wouldn't say you should go on a 100 Fahrenheit degree day, cover your wheels with it, and go to lunch and come back in 5 hours. It might have an effect on the finish, especially sensitive finishes. Also, I've never really had like polished aluminum wheels. They're always clear coated or
Mhm.
some kind of layer on top. So it could be different if you're using them on raw aluminum wheels, for example, or maybe mag wheels or something. I don't know.
But that product would probably eat through your ceramic coating if you had one on your wheels.
Yeah, if you left it on for a while, if you used it in big quantities all the time, what I tend to do on my wheels instead of relying on a long-term ceramic coating is I use strong spray sealants as detail sprays when I'm cleaning up and getting all the little water spots off. I'll just spray on a nice sealant, and that'll be my quick detailer.
Okay, so you don't use like full blown ceramic coating
No,
on
I've
the
done
wheels?
it before, but with such harsh brake pad materials and just the amount of heat and dust and everything, I've not found anything that really lasts a very long time in practice. It's
Okay.
very hard to bond sometimes, when you have that much heat and brake dust and all that stuff. It's yeah.
Yeah, I get that comment all the time because I had a tutorial about ceramic coating your wheels, and many people mentioned that they found that to be too much work, and they did not see that much of a ease of maintenance. Was a better ease of maintenance.
What I usually do is when I buy a new set of wheels and they're nice and brand new and I take them out of the box, I'll
Hmm.
ceramic coat them and while they're off the car, and then I'll come back in 2 months and the ceramic coating's gone. And it's not like paint or I mean, I know that they're clear coated. I mean, your paint doesn't experience the heat of your wheels and doesn't just get coated in massive amounts of brake dust and then cleaned with okay, yeah, a harsher than soap chemical. It's essentially you got iron remover type of compounds in there, and yeah, it's definitely harsher than just using like Adam's blue soap on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, there's definitely a braking system that produce a real good cross after
Yeah.
a few drive. Like
All three of my cars, yeah. I bet your BMW is the same.
it actually they're not that bad. If you
No?
step up to the full blown M3, those are really really bad.
Are yours
Like
still ceramic, the pads? They're not somewhat metallic?
no, I don't know to be
Yeah.
honest, but
The somewhat metallic, usually you just get dust immediately.
okay.
Yeah.
But they're like the option, the big brake option for that car, and I mean they will produce some, but really
They
not that
might
bad.
be. There's a few compounds that are pretty good about reducing brake dust. There's a couple of popular ones for the Corvette that people put on because they make a little less brake dust. So it could just be a really nice compound on there.
And to go back to that initial question, what would you say to some people? Sometimes they'll tell you, "Oh, you're using like a degreaser to clean your wheels. They're not really clean because you may have embedded iron. You use an iron remover type of wheel cleaner on a
Well,
regular
so the
basis."
Adams wheel cleaner has iron remover in it.
Okay, so that's okay. So my mistake. So I
Maybe
thought you
you're
were
thinking they have one that's like an eco one, and then they have like the regular one. Mine is the regular one. It's the
no. I,
one that turns like purple and like it's an iron remover type of product. And
okay,
I've used straight up iron remover on wheels. Works great too.
I had the Adams wheel and tire cleaner in mind. That's the high pH type degreaser. You
Mhm.
know which one I'm saying? The purple one.
It's yeah, because there's a teal one and a purple one, right?
The purple is wheel and tire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's like pH 13. It's solvent
Yeah.
base.
Yeah.
Well, they don't say that, but if you look at the SDS, there's like the solvent base type of wheel cleaner. They're pretty strong. With the one that makes the tire brown, that
Right.
pulls the
Right. Right. Right.
browning from the
Right. Yeah.
tires. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the one that's that has the iron remover that turns purple.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Would you say that you have a specific controversial opinion about around detailing that you could mention?
what's my most? I mean, the UV is a very controversial opinion. We talked about that earlier. I think a lot of people, and I'm going to get into this in a future video. Well, actually, a video I've already filmed, but I haven't finished editing. Um, a lot of people think that ceramic coatings are for kind of like fancy cars or exotics or like a show car, but I actually really like them on daily driven stuff. It's a much better experience to have a long lasting protection on your vehicle that you drive every day and a show car that you can enjoy polishing or applying a wax to by hand every so many weeks is a different experience than a daily driver.
Yeah, I agree. As long as you don't get the water spots, it's
Yeah, that's the
better.
trick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. If you're parked next to a sprinkler head, Yeah, you're gonna have it.
For me, with all the coatings and the cars that I had, it seems like the my problem is on the hood.
Mm,
And I started to think that maybe the heat from the engine block, even though
yeah,
you park the car
evaporates.
inside, yeah, makes the
Yeah,
water evaporates, even though it's not tap water. Because
yeah.
I don't get that problem on other panels.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it's possible that maybe there's still some mineral content in the water that's raining. I don't know. What part of the where are you based out of?
Montreal, Quebec?
Oh, Montreal. Okay, I was gonna say shouldn't be a lot of acid rain in Montreal.
No, I don't think so.
No, yeah, I'm teasing. Well, I don't know. You guys had the fires out there. Maybe it was related to that. I don't know.
Uh,
But no, probably not. Yeah, I'm genuinely curious what the deal is because I mean, theoretically, rainwater should be pretty neutral, and it shouldn't be leaving a ton of water spots. Maybe there's already mineral contamination on your hood, and the water evaporating. You know, the water first dissolves it and then evaporates and makes a water spot. Could be that. Now I kind of want to test that. I got to start collecting rainwater.
yeah. Well, I'm switching coating now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's honestly it's hard to find. That's the one thing. I've yet to really find something that's perfect for water spots. You know, some coatings are a lot worse than others, but nothing's really that great for water spots.
yeah, and sometimes I thought I got them out, and they came back after another coating, after polishing another coating. They came back through. There's even a few ones
Yeah.
that I sanded that were gone, polished off to a perfect shine,
Yeah. And
and
after
they
a month,
reappeared. Yeah,
yeah. Unfortunately, that's you've got some more permanent damage that has happened to the clear coat because of the water spots. It's the big thing with that is getting them out quickly. If
hmm
you allow them to, to have those water spots for a while, in my experience, they can become much more permanent. If you sort of say, well, I don't want to deal with it, I'll recoat this car in a year and a half. Sometimes you're going to be in some trouble if you've got big water spots in visible places.
that's where you're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sucks because, if you screw up or something happens and maybe you park it by sprinkler and you let it dry out, and then you just got the side of your car with water spots and you're like, man, now I have to polish this thing and, or use the acid based water spot remover and deal with the coating again. Like it can suck. I get
Yeah,
it.
because like I said, I had that problem, but not on any panel, not on any other panels than the hood, and that's
Yeah.
at the middle of the hood at the top. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm thinking that. The
Yeah.
other thing is the bird poo.
Oh,
Bird poo
yeah. You gotta
doesn't
get it right
forgive.
away. Yeah, you gotta get it right away. Like, this is so nerdy, and I feel like I'm hilariously insane for doing this, but I have a little spray bottle of a detail spray that I just took a little spray bottle, I poured it in there, and I have one of those Eagle Edgeless in the glove box because it's like, I'm not gonna deal with a giant bird poop, and especially if you're out of town or something in your car, and it's like, what, I'm gonna have 3, 4 days of bird poop on my car?
No, 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 me too. An afternoon parked in the sun is enough.
Yeah.
I've had that experience many times, and from other people's car as well. So you
Yeah.
better mar the paint with a waterless wash and a
Yeah.
towel in just one tiny spot than
Yeah.
having that bird poop baked in your clear
Yeah.
coat.
And you can really soak, if you got your little spray bottle, soak so it kind of,
Dab it.
emulsifies, dab it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, we just sound like maniacs, but
No, 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 no.
yeah.
The people that are listening to
Yeah.
that point, they are just like us.
Yeah. I hope so. Well, so the other thing too with water spots and like poop and stuff like that is I think the ceramic coating isn't really the problem here. You're going to have the same issue with bare paint or with any other product. It's just you've invested in the ceramic coating and the time. I think the people that aren't going to carry the towel and the little spray bottle in their car, they're not going to care about the little water spot anyway. You and I care and other viewers care, but the average person that could benefit from a ceramic coating that, may still hand wash their car, but they're not, super involved. Um, they're not going to care if there's a couple of little water spots somewhere to redo it anyway. So they
No.
may as well enjoy the long-term protection of the coating and the easier experience if they're not worried about those little things.
Yeah, sometimes they're like mine. They're barely noticeable. You won't see them
Yeah.
on videos.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. And everybody, look, everybody's got them. I've got a little one on the Corvette I need to go fix. I know where mine is too.
But the bird poo that I had last year, I just coated my hood with Geon Pure Evo.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that is not super slick, right?
Yeah. Well, Gian Pure
Yeah,
Evo,
it
let
did
me
okay
see.
in your test.
It's not super slick. It's just okay. Yeah, it's on the lower end. Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
looking at my table and cheating.
But I remember it not being super slick.
Yeah.
But the
Solid
darkening
product though.
effect is is the
Yeah.
highest that I've seen.
Yeah. You know what else did really well is the armor quartz coating. That darkening effect on it is pretty insane, especially on lighter colors, like on your blue. Well, your blue's kind of mid between light and dark, I'd say,
Yeah,
or purplish, I guess.
it's a
What
purpley
color
blue.
is that? Yeah, purpley
It's,
blue. Yeah,
it's but it changes look according to the lighting.
tint coat.
But
Yeah.
that you bring me to a point, that darkening effect that I had from Geon Pure. Then I had that bird poo. So I had to sand that bird poo. It would not come out with the compound. And then I compounded that section. And then I reapplied like a can coat type of coating over top. And my friend, you see the difference.
Oh,
The
yeah.
color is not the same.
Yeah.
So for me, having that much of a darkening effect can be a problem if you have to fix a couple tiny spots, because they're gonna stand out.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see the difference between products. I test multiple products on 2 products per panel, just time saver to film 2 videos at once. Those black test panels that I do, and when you have them side by side, it's crazy. You can see the difference. You see the control strip and you see the 2 different products, and you're like, wow, it's such a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. All
But yeah,
right.
I was gonna say on light colored cars that armor quartz coating on like a bright red, I was blown away. It's one of the prettiest products on a bright colored car.
Yeah, you got a video on that with like the beauty ceramic coating, something like that, right? The video title.
The video title, yeah, I think it might have said "most beautiful" or something like that,
Yeah.
or yeah, yeah, it was like "most beautiful," but what's the catch or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah, you've got some good
yeah.
wordplay in your thumbnails or titles.
Oh, I try.
What testing method you wish you could do if money was no object?
Ooh,
Is there one?
yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I would love to have and I mean, I think I have ways of doing it myself, but like a wet QVA UV oven test where it mists water as part of the UV bake test process. I think that could show a big difference where coatings and other products may work to help with UV, kind of the oxidation we talked about. And I would love to own like a scanning electron microscope. That would be amazing.
And
Um,
what that machine can do?
so that machine allows you to see at an incredibly fine level of detail, like smaller than a human hair level of detail, to see where the product actually is, how it's failing. But it's tough. I actually um, got to play and look at a electron scanning electron microscope recently with a product applied to a test panel, and there's challenges to it. This is getting really nerdy, but scanning electron microscopes need to be able to conduct electricity, and you're using like a plastic polymer ABS panel, or in my case I was, and you've got polymer paint on it and polymer coating on it, and there you have a charging issue where the electrons, you see this like pulsing, and you're not able to get a very clear image to be able to see where the layers are, but it shows you just how tiny those layers of coating are. Like whenever I tell people why I think the UV is a challenge, the tininess is so small that it can be hard to see that layer even in an electron microscope. When you're looking at like some of the highest magnification that we can do scientifically, you're still like sitting there hunting like, is that it? There's a little line there. Is that the 1 micron layer of coating? And it's a real
Wow.
challenge. One of the things I was talking to the Art to Shine guys about is I wanted them to maybe connect me with some of their team that was doing some of their electron microscopy, because they had some very clear images, and I'm curious how they overcame the charging problem. But
Okay.
I would love to have one at home so I could do this. But
Yeah.
I don't have. I think for a small baby one, like 50 grand or
Oh my
something.
God.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
great to have one.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. And um, the contact angle machine or the contact angle testing, other than the water beading or the roundness of the bead, is there a benefit to a better contact angle?
Yeah, so the contact angle is really a measure of surface energy. That's what causes the beating versus the flattening of the water. So high surface energy causes water to spread out, it pulls the water on. And essentially, products that are highly hydrophobic, that create very low surface energy, allow for better cleaning of the surface. So the lower or the higher the surface energy, the more things like water want to stick to it, and the more difficult it is for you to just, because you've seen that effect on coated cars. You take your your
Pressure
what
washer
was the word,
gun?
like pressure washer gun. You shoot your car with it, and you see, let's say you're doing a rinse and you got all the foam and everything just comes off and slides right off. You want that action. You want the lowest surface energy, ideally, for your car. And so the better that contact angle, the higher that performance. So this is the caveat of like products that have poor contact angles. It's not just that it's not making a pretty, because some people go, well, who cares how pretty the bead is? It's telling you something. The shape of the bead is telling you the characteristic of the surface that it's sitting on. And that's what
Yeah.
we're really finding out.
Okay. Yeah, because there's coatings that are making a lot of beads, but when you, like you said, you use your pressure washer gun and you go slow across the panel, you'll see that the water is going to start to pool like a big sheet of water instead of just
Yeah.
those thousands of beads just flying away.
Yeah. Yeah. And you
I-
can for
Is
sure
is there?
overwhelm it a little bit.
But my question is there a connection to that performance of water beads with the contact angle, or that would be a different thing?
So there's a couple of things involved. If with contact angle measurements, we're not shooting a stream of water at your panel, and the type of flow of water you're doing is going to have an effect. So I'm sure you've done this. You've water dried a car before, right?
Water what?
Water dried a car, used
Yeah,
water
yeah,
to
yeah.
dry a car. Yeah, you know what I'm
Sure.
talking about. What do
Yeah.
you need to do to water dry a car? When you're, how do
Flood.
you, what,
Yeah, flood it with a big jet.
flood it, but not just necessarily a big jet, but a smooth flow of water, right? If a lot of people, they'll take like the nozzle off of a garden hose off and just allow that smooth lamellar flow of water kind of go over the hood and wash everything off. So that's a little bit of a different effect. You're creating effectively one giant bead. That's very different than, let's say, a high surface energy surface where you've attempted to put a big bead. And sometimes people will call these like, oh, it's just sheeting, it's not beading. It's like, no, it's just spreading the water across the panel. You can add a bunch of water on top, but the high surface energy is spreading that water across the panel. It's not actually creating this one big bead to slide off. And the big sliding bead is the high contact angle, low surface energy, and technique, which yields that one giant bead. So that's why you want to have that flood of water like you're talking about. You don't want to have, like, you wouldn't be able to do this with like a misting. You wouldn't be able to put like a
Mhm.
mister head on your pressure washer and create that effect. You need that you need that smooth flow.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's pretty interesting, Dimitri. Before we go, do you have any projects, or what do you have in mind, or in what do you have coming up for 2025?
Yeah, so I think there's going to be quite a lot more coding testing. I'm very excited about the glass test suite that's going to be coming out. There's going to be a whole series of tests that will be performed on glass coatings and sealants. Going to be very standardized, just like my paint testing. And also, I want to do more content talking about different uses of products, sort of like a lot of what we've been discussing today. For instance, the video I'm finishing editing right now is going to focus on what the right product for a particular use case is. A lot of my viewers ask me, like, I got this car, I'm doing this thing. Do I get a coating? Do I get a spray sealant? What do I do? And this video is going to talk a lot about that. And I really want to spend more time on that sort of educational content as well. Not necessarily always being super nitty gritty, but like, where do you even get started?
Good. Yeah, because people have different needs, right? And different experience.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty exciting. Dimitri, tell us where we can find out more about you, your stuff.
Yep. So Dimitri's Garage on YouTube. I primarily post there. I occasionally post a little on Instagram, but it's not very much. And then Dimitri'sGarage.com for all my testing results, tables, and kind of occasional blog content.
Perfect. Well, Dimitri, thank you so much for your time. That was a super interesting conversation.
Thanks,
I'll try
Frank.
to get you back at some point. You're a very interesting guy.
Definitely. I appreciate it. Thank you. I had a great time.
Thank you. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the House of Rags YouTube channel.
Definitely.